Pursuant to MGLC 30A 20F, after notifying the chair of the public body, any person may record or transmit this open meeting. This hybrid meeting is being recorded by the town of Stockbridge. The names of members participating will be announced. Any member of the public wishing to speak must first receive permission from the chair. The agenda items listed are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, but not all may be discussed. And other topics not listed may be brought up for discussion by the public body as permitted by law. Thank you. And welcome to the Stockbridge Bowl Stewardship Committee meeting. You have to announce who's on.
Just the members of the committee.
Yeah. On.
Bill Steeder.
That's it.
And that's it. Bill, thank you. And here we don't have to announce anybody.
No,
All right.
they can see us.
Okay. Well, we can see them. All right. The first thing I'd like to do is accept the minutes of May 28th, 2026. Tom, thank you very much for doing.
So moved. I move that we accept the minutes.
I accept it. Second.
Third.
Hi, Sally.
All right.
Michael.
Michael, you got to say aye, Mike.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Gary.
Hi, Don.
Hi, James.
I'm Lori.
I want to just go quickly to Michael Canales and so that he has a chance to, if he doesn't want to stay here, he can leave, but he wanted to go over what's going on, the agenda?
Over what's happening with the dam and the dredging.
Yeah.
So that impacts the lake. Obviously.
Excellent.
So our engineers from Ty and Bond have begun the work up on the dam as far as the phase two analysis. So they've done the review of all existing information, which is all information that's had by the Department of Office of Dam Safety. And just looking back on the history of the dam, they've done their visual inspections, they've begun the wetland delineation, and they just informed me the other day that they were up beginning the topographical survey. So this is all the preliminary work that needs to be done with the dam.
Sorry.
Can't take him anywhere.
I can't.
Sorry.
So this is all the preliminary work that is done as far as the analysis work. And then the phase two will do the hydrological studies themselves. So that'll happen later in the summer. So work is on task, on time, and the rest. The money was appropriated at town meeting to do the other section of phase two. So I haven't split the project because we had money still available. So we're able to do a number of things and get them started before July 1st. And then after July 1st, we'll move on to the other components. The attempt is that we get everything done over the winter, and then next spring when the application for the dams and seed walls comes out, that we can apply for state and other funding sources to get any repairs or upgrades to the dam done. So I'm expecting that we're going to see a bunch of information by this late fall and early winter coming in. And once I get reports, I'll share them with the chair to share them with the board, and then I can come to the meetings and talk about what the next steps will be.
They'll do an NOI.
What's that?
They'll do an NOI.
They'll have to do an NOI for some of this, but this will be the components that they're doing right now will be part of that.
Okay.
So like right now, they're just doing the delineations.
Right. I'm just trying to figure out, be ready.
Yeah.
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 Will it need to draw down like they did last year?
So the drawdown last year was only specifically because we had to take the stress off of the repair. So no, I'm not anticipating that they'll do a drawdown.
Good.
Most likely the following year, there's probably a good chance that if construction happens
Oh, okay.
on the dam itself, that there may be a requirement for a drawdown at that point.
But that would be more later on in the year.
Yeah, that would probably follow, until they get into the hydrological assessments getting done, we're not gonna have a lot of answers
Yeah.
as far as how much, to what level, and the rest do they
Okay.
have to do things. So, right now is them gathering the information, doing the analysis, and then once they get into hydrological studies and the rest, that's gonna give the plan. The plan there'll be the neat NOI, there'll be other permits and everything else, because unlike the emergency, this will have to be a full permitted project going forward.
We don't know at this point if there's going to be like destruction of existing
Not at this,
and rebuild. Okay.
that would be later on, as I think I stated before, when there was the partial collapse of that wall, the good news was that the clay showed no evidence of seepage. But they are concerned, especially if you were standing on top of the dam, the spillway, looking out from that little bridge to the right, there is a lot of water down there. There's no streams. So is that water that's just collected during rain and small depressions, or do we have some seepage in that area? I don't know. And of course, the other big one that's been identified is the cutback area, because you are supposed to not have any vegetation growing except for grass in that within 10 feet of the toe of the dam, which is the outer bottom, which we haven't done, portion of it. So
The dam is being considered as the berm or
the berm, so the toe is the outer lower point of the berm.
okay,
You're supposed to have that maintained clear of brush and trees.
10 feet.
Yeah, because the idea is that if a tree was to be uprooted during a storm or something, the roots itself, you had a healthy tree get uprooted, it could lead to a failure with the dam, because the roots themselves could jeopardize the structure.
Understood.
And that'll be a big one. I know their preliminary reports at some point, $250,000 of tree work that was going to be required. There's a lot of trees within 10 feet.
Really?
Wow.
A lot.
Okay.
And not only that, when they remove the tree, they have to remove the stump. They have to fill in the stump with a hard material, because you can't leave loose soil there. So, and then obviously we're going to have environmental, so conservation will be weighing in on this. So we have the requirements of dams that say this, then there's requirements.
It'd be a long haul.
How do they get around? If you take down trees in a place like that, you have changed the temperature of the water, and you are changing the ecosystem significantly. How do they get away? I mean, we went through this dam thing before, and I'm not sure how I spell that, but in any case, and they cut down all the trees along the berm there, and it's a cold water fish, and they're changing the shade, and there's no shade once they cut down all those trees. I don't really get how that works. Just
I don't know.
not have anything to say.
I don't. They'll be prescribing dam safety. We're going to be now required to bring it up to the dam safety standards. So we'll have to see how that plays out with the environmental groups, from Natural Heritage to NISA to the Conservation Committee, and then the Office of Dam Safety, which we're going to have to meet everybody's compliance issues and that. So I don't know how it works, but I do know what dam standards do say, and it's specifically to ensure that there would never be an uprooting of a tree that would cause a potentially catastrophic failure of the dam. And you have to remember that this is considered a high hazard dam, that if you ever had something like that happen, it can lead to potential destruction of property and loss of life.
So is it like the right of way? They get to do pretty much anything we want to, in spite of how much they're destroying the ecosystem.
That sounds like.
It's a combination of you're running the risk of, I don't know which one's going to win out here.
No, I think we know who's going to win
We
out.
will go out on the process and have to be, but I know when they brought in the dam safety standards after some other failures, these were requirements. Now that we've had one, we're required to bring it up to full standards.
I have a question. Either I'm not hearing well or whatever. The original, when we lowered the lake this past year, was because the berm, which you walk on towards the bridge, was giving way.
The berm was fine. It was the outlet channel of the spillway.
Now, the spillway is the natural, not the mechanical one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right.
The natural one.
The natural, basically,
Yes.
yeah.
And so they immediately wanted pressure taken off
Uh-huh.
in case there was any, and we never encountered any seepage through, but it was a precaution. So the first precaution, as soon as you have, if you have the ability to lessen the pressure on the dam, because if not, what they would have had to come in is they would have to come in and create basically a coffer dam. And they would have had to put water a different direction and the rest. But because we had the ability to open it up, the spillway, the relief one, we were able to lower the water, relieving the pressure there. Sure. But at no time, the good news was at no time did we see seepage through the actual structure.
Okay, so going forward, now this next phase, explain to me, so the next phase has to do with the first phase. In other words, it's not independent. What's the second thing that they're now going to look
It's
into?
called a phase 2 assessment. It's not
Yeah.
the second, it's a phase 2
Well,
assessment.
okay, but I mean, exactly, repeat to me, I apologize.
Hydrological and hydraulic study.
Uh-huh.
So
It's a study.
that is a bunch of components which
Okay.
they started on, which is reviewing all past information, visual inspections, wetland delineation, and then the topographic. Then they'll move to the actual bore sampling and other stuff to look at the dam itself. In the best case scenario, we find that there's no seepage from the dam. There's no work required on the berms. Yay. They've already have looked at the fact that our spillway is not considered adequate to the current standards. There's probably modifications that are going to need to happen to the spillway and things like that. Other scenarios that could end up playing out is we may find that there's seepage. And then if there's seepage, we're going to have to deal with the seepage. A lot of it is conjecture at this point. This is why the study is being done. The analysis will be done, and then that's going to dictate the rest of what we do going forward. So,
Okay,
yeah. So right now, anything I'm talking about is all hypothetical until we get the actual data and then find out what we have. The only reason I mentioned the trees is that's really not going to change. That was in the report from DCR, DODS, Office of Dam Safety, that we weren't compliant, that, 10 feet from the berm, the rest, and it was identified in the report done by Tyazon. And that one's probably going to be something we'll deal with through the regulatory process between the different regulations. But that's something right in the regulations that needs to be done. The rest of it's going to depend on what they find during the hydrological study. Is there actual seepage?
right.
Is there anything else? So,
We get a long time.
yeah, we're spending basically this next fiscal year studying to come up with a plan. And then we'll approach, like I said, there is a fund that was created after dam failures when they created the dam standards a number of years ago and put in money into an account for that and seawalls, which we then, once we get this stuff done, we can apply for money.
That's a state grant.
It's a state grant. Yep, which we'll go after, we'll apply. Because if we do run into significant leakage, spillage, other stuff, it can become a significant cost in that. So, yeah, if we have to do anything, I did take down the dam in Clarksburg. That was at the time the largest dam removed by the state. So that was quite the project. And that was the dam in the river though. Here. So this one will be repairing. So work's ongoing, work's on schedule. Anticipation is that we will have a report this winter, and it will allow us to go after funding sources and the rest, plus go to town meeting with requirements for matching funds or anything else, and do the work that's necessary to bring our dam back up to full compliance. All right.
Thank you.
The other piece is the dredging. So we have worked with GZA on the next step. So the next steps are going to be a lot of the permitting. So now that last year we completed the archaeological assessment, which came back saying that Bullard's Woods could be used. There was a filing in front of our conservation about the isolated vegetated areas, and that was taken care of. And then we did our pit samples where we looked at locations to make sure that there was no ledge that would prevent us from creating the steps that would be needed in order to do the dredging project. Good news is all three of those were successful, so we're able to move on to our next phase. So phase 3, we'll be doing the NEPA review. We'll be doing the 70% design of the geotechnical dewatering site design. We'll be filing up
Michael?
ROI.
I don't mean to interrupt you. Can you just explain in a nutshell MEPA to the group?
Yeah, it's the Massachusetts Endangered
EPA.
Environmental Protection Agency.
It's the Massachusetts EPA.
All right.
That's the easiest way to put it. So
Right.
they will have to review it. We'll have to file a notice of intent with the Conservation Committee. We have to file for what's called a Chapter 91 permit. Chapter 91 is anytime you're doing any type of dredging, water work, putting up docks, anything within a Massachusetts waterway. NHESP submission for it. We'll have to do a water quality certification application. We'll have to develop a stormwater pollution prevention plan. And those are all the tasks that we are planning on doing for this year. Once we get to the 70% design, then we can start thinking about cost estimates and the rest. So we are narrowing in now on getting to the point where we can say, all right, here's the project, all permitting, and that is done. We've taken the approach over the last 2 years of really taking this systematically. I've pushed GZA on what do we need to do next that can bring this project to a stop. Let's make sure it's answered systematically as we've gone through. So last year we did the 3 that we needed to do. These are the ones we're going to do next. We have to get through all of these in order to proceed with the next one. So
Is there an Army Corps?
there will be an Army Corps filing. Yes. Yeah.
Explain the 70% design, exactly, what is
So
that
that'll be
about?
the site design for the geotubes, which is the big piece. How exactly are the geotubes going to be set? And the rest, hydrologic dredging is a known process. So that, there'll be some, it's the design has to be the actual layout of the geotubes. So the geotubes are long tubes, those almost like Chinese ones that you would push. They're like long. They're going to sit. So you have to actually you're going to have to dig into those banks and create shelving. Then they'll fill the geotubes. And probably the easiest way is to draw it. So if you're looking at the ledge like this, the geotubes, they'll put one, two
Where they
here,
put the silt.
1, 2 here.
It's like a giant.
And then they'll fill it back in and restore the land to the
What it was
pitch that it
before.
was before. So you actually have to develop ledging, put them in, you'll fill them with the dredged material, you'll then stack them, and then you'll put the dirt that you removed to create these steps back over the top, reseed it with natural plantings, and then the area would be returned back. And these would just end up being buried and left there where they are. They're used on the Cape. The Cape Cod uses them. They'll suck up seaweed, other things, and then they'll place them, and then they use them to reinforce the dunes and stuff. So geotubes have been used all over the place, but you have to have a plan on how you're going to do it. So they'll have to design that plan.
Any relationship between the dredging and the dam work? Because originally they were saying that there would be dredging out in front of the dam. And I don't know how that stands today.
We'll have to look at that. I mean, we can't, so we're under orders to bring the dam up because we had an issue. So the dam project's going to have to continue as is. With the dredging, of course, once we get to the 70% designed, and other things. And then at some point, probably the following year, we'll be getting the cost estimate and the rest. Then we'll have to look at the sources for actually funding the dredging project. And exactly what are the costs with costs nowadays that we've seen spiral.
Of course.
Yeah.
And may I ask a question? Are these several permitting processes, do they occur simultaneously or do they have to be done sequentially?
I can't remember exactly how each one, some will happen in conjunction with the others. And then some, because you need information, will happen one to another. So some will be happening at the same time. Yes.
Okay, I mean, that should be a priority where possible, so that there's not a lot of gap time where you're waiting for one thing to happen in order to do the second thing.
Right. Yeah.
Well, the water quality and the Army Corps studies are separate. But once you file the notice of intent, you at the same time file with Natural Heritage. They do the MEPA study. The stormwater will be part of that. So that all will be bundled into one thing.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I know you're used to how these work more
Michael,
specifically.
what happens to the geotubes? Are they biodegradable or do they get filled?
They get filled and then dirt goes back over the top of them.
Right.
And then they just remain in place. So, yeah.
So it's like a reinforcing ultimately. Yeah, good.
Gary just mentioned to me was there going to be dredging below the pipeline? Because there was originally going to be some, and that was always a question.
So I haven't changed any scopes of what the dredging was. So it's
Okay.
still the same dredging plan that's always been before the town. So I'd have to check that to see, but we haven't changed the scope. The only thing we focused on was just doing this in a very meticulous way to try to get us to the end product. So we're looking at, with next year, with all these filings, everything else, that we're going to have our permits and be ready to go, and then we'll be coming up with the funding for it. So the locations are all.
Well, would that be a change in the scope or not? We don't know.
No,
No.
it's the same project that we've had, the same areas that we proposed to dredge before. So I will get a copy of that and send it to Mike so he can send it out to the board.
Okay.
Showing, I know we've looked at that before, but it's probably been a while than that, but it's still the same dredging plan of the areas to be dredged and the rest.
Right, Michael, if we wanted to add something to the master plan, like the Lily Brook, that area on the other side of the causeway, we're jumping the gun because we're not even near there. But if we wanted to do that, is that something that can be, they haven't really seen the plan, NHESP, in terms of, they're not going to really look at it until we file.
We're going to be filing, but I would caution adding a separate water source to another project, unless you want to push this project out.
Well, the only reason I say this is because at the time, Jesse Ledick allowed us, usually you can only do one project per, he allowed us to separate them and have, let's say, 1 year, we do the dredging thing, and in that same project,
Like there's been no analysis of Lily Brook or the Causeway area at all.
there's been what?
There's been no looking at that from any perspective.
Yeah, I'm just talking to you like guidance here.
Yeah, I'm saying
Yeah.
that you should just focus on the project we have in front of us. We've gotten to this point by being methodical. If all of a sudden you're going to change the scope, we're pulling back and starting, you're pulling the project back to start something else.
Right there. There's the gas pipe.
All right,
Because the issue becomes, if Lily Brook isn't dealt with,
That's right there.
it's all going to fill in again.
What?
Over 50 to 100 years.
But
So
They are.
it is. But even more than that is not just the numbers itself, but falling inlets and gas that are coming in and what's causing them to.
But clearly the main one is, if you look at the lake itself, it's Lily Brook. That's where it's still in.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were There is some question about where the scope is, so maybe if you're gonna provide the information, that would be good. We could take a look at that.
Yes, we haven't, well, it should be whatever. Most
Well,
likely that's, if you send it, if those are the old plan, those are the plans. that
I have the
we're
plan you
working
sent us before.
on. So if you guys are making any changes to the scope, yeah, I mean, and as far as scope of what's being done in the Stockbridge Bowl itself,
okay,
Lily Brook would be a different
Be
look
dangerous.
and that, and, yeah, I would say get this one done and then look at Lily Brook next. Because once the dredging's done, you know, like I said, it's gonna take 50, 100 years to fill in. If we move immediately from the first dredging project and then look at how to prevent silt coming in and rest, and we could start that. But we already have 2 projects now on the Stockbridge Bowl that are gonna be happening over the next dredging in the dam. So, yeah.
what? I'm sorry.
I was gonna say that one of the issues that's coming up is the dredging plan is in the context of lake management and the environmental management of the area. So, you know, building that sequence makes sense. You know, anything that disturbs a plan for all the regulators is gonna make everybody crazy. But it's a long-term strategy, you know, so that 50, 100 years is some expansion. But it has to be done because it's just gonna fill up again, like you have issues of cyanobacteria and eutrophication. The lake is only temporarily managed by the dredging. I mean, that's the purpose of the dredging, right? It's to deal with some of the eutrophication.
My understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's in that context that I think we have to build that lake management plan out.
And if you're building that with Ben Murphy's, you should be looking at how our lake creates, there's a sizable bacteria count in the lower
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
Do we put in aerators? Do we
Yeah.
put in,
Yeah.
you know,
All of those things need to
Yeah.
be structured out because aeration is one of the ways to deal with the anoxia that permeates and benefit. So
Wasn't the original scope to, I mean, there's a channel and then there's,
Here's the dredging plan.
I understand. And then there was going to be some reach out to the individual houses along the way.
That's all
Was that known? Is that?
well before my time. I've just been given if you're looking at it, it's most likely the plan that I've had that we're working off of the areas that were identified and was moving through permitting before.
Okay.
So
We'll see what what it looks like.
Original houses didn't work out very well.
Before they're gonna think about
Um,
About what?
anything right now, talking to you.
DEP did
Yeah,
not
gotcha.
go for that.
What?
DEP did not go for the original houses dredging thing,
Oh, is that right? So it's
What's the original?
channel.
hydro rig.
Well, no, you're talking about the last time we did hydro raking? I don't, right, because I did it the time before. And,
It was a problem.
oh yeah, there was a problem. I don't know exactly, but also I think it was done incorrectly, totally. It should not have been this machine should not be going on the shore. It should be, whatever they pick up should have been left and then picked up by the harvester or by a barge. Otherwise you're gonna, and that's what we did the time before, which was 2 years before that, and it worked pretty well. But anyway,
So we get the site design, we get the
Yeah, we'll
rest,
look
we
at
get
it.
everything together, and then we can look at what funding sources are
Sure.
available, what costs, because all the groups want to know what's gonna cost, the rest. So we'll have all that similar to the dam, and then we can explore if there's any state, federal. You know, we applied for the one round, they had dredging and dam stuff at the state, and they got rid of that program, so.
Okay.
It's a 1 year project, and as a pilot, I got rid of it, so. But we'll see what other possible funding sources and stuff to get this project built, so. You know, I'm expecting not next year's town meeting after that, hopefully Ravens will push the project. So,
Okay.
So
That's
it's moving along, and the one that'll move a little quicker because it's required will be the dam two. There's more under timelines from,
Good.
dam safety to particular items, so, yeah.
And one of the things that we have to keep in mind that as much as everybody does not like the idea of eutrophication is the natural process. So what you're doing is not an ecological restoration. It is making Stockbridge Bowl into a recreational place where people can have boats and things like that, but it is not the natural process.
The natural process is lakes move.
Yeah.
And humans just don't like that.
Well, that's why they built dams. I mean,
Right.
there was an agricultural region. I mean, there are a lot of reasons
Right.
for this thing to happen.
Right.
It's just,
Dams are being removed all over the country and particularly in the Northeast.
Well, those are river dams.
River dam.
River dams.
Well, there's a question as to whether this is river on.
Isn't this a
Oh.
lake? Oh, you're thinking it's not?
Well,
You've got water coming in, you've got water going out.
Okay, we're in the middle.
And anywhere you dam anything, it wants to fill, become a marsh, turn back into a river, and then maybe somewhere downstream,
Mackinac Marsh.
bind up again, and then do it again. And like I said, humans don't like that lakes naturally want to move.
Well, I don't want to bring up the subject about eutrophication because a lot of it is, it is, but we're talking, this is really something that's happened to the bowl has happened in the last 75 years. That's the lake, the bowl's been around for a lot longer than that. And so,
That's the
you
natural
can't.
process.
Yes, but it's a natural process. It is, but that's too big a comment for me to say that you just got to let it do whatever it's going to do because we've already adulterated it with man-made things. So I think people really, you can't just say it's a natural thing for it to die, or it's a natural thing for it to dry up, or it's a natural thing for it to go. That's usually a natural thing over hundreds of years or over a certain amount, not in a 40-year span since that's happened.
Go ahead.
The gas pipeline is one of the major offender because that has put a block in the water, in the water level.
It's not natural.
Only the top couple feet of water are really moving. The rest of it is kind of dead down there. And that's what we're trying to clean out.
And there was,
I really don't.
Understand that.
Sally, there was a time decades ago to prevent even motorboats on the lake.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, people are contributing to part of the problem.
Yeah. But the lake serves many purposes. Right?
Yeah.
One of
Absolutely,
them is recreation. And
correct.
I think you have to balance the needs of the population of the town and, and the need for the human population to enjoy the water is just as important in some ways as letting the lake do its natural thing over geologic time.
I mean, I totally understand that, but we deal with this all the time in conservation. Our job is not to care whether your boat can get in the water.
Right.
But your job may not be that, but your job is also whether the fish are healthy, whether the fishermen can
That's what our
fish,
job is.
and that requires a healthy lake.
If you can't put your boat in the water, you can't fish.
It's all combined. But anyway, Michael, I have two questions for you. Do you know if the select board voted on the committee or when they will vote on?
18th.
The 18th of this month.
Yep.
Okay, and the other question I have is, when are general committee elections for chairs? When do they have to be done by?
The first meeting, so the new people will be appointed for July 1st for the new fiscal year, your July meeting.
The July meeting?
July.
Uh-huh.
First meeting after July 1st, you reconstitute your boards.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Michael, what's happening with the boat launch?
So the boat
July 8th.
launch
I
is,
understand there are pieces
What date
missing.
did you say?
so the
July 8th.
boat launch itself is fully completed. The kayak.
That's what I mean, the kayak launch.
When they went to put it together, there were some missing pieces.
Okay.
So,
And who's doing that? The
The
state? Okay.
So they know who the company that made the thing is and the rest. So there are some parts. So at some point, there will be some additional work being done up there to put the kayak launch in, where they'll obviously have to, some area they'll have to work from, but once that's done, then it'll be fully done. But I'm not sure. I was told that there were missing pieces from when it broke free.
That's what I heard.
River. And then I was also told that after that it was reinstalled and some pieces were ordered and it was reinstalled, but that's when the river went down so low that it then was hanging in the air and broke and fell into the river that time. And that's when the town pulled it out. So we had originally pieced out, we moved all the pieces up to the boat ramp. Everything we have is up there. The highway department did look through down in their shop as to whether they had anything else. But as we know, the garage at the highway department was rebuilt in 2020. The old one was taken down, so we're not sure. So they're looking at what those pieces are, whether or not they can still order them or they have to custom make some pieces, and then the kayak launch will be installed.
Okay, because people ask, and so I just wanted to know. And the other question I had is that I guess it's for Gary, they were missing a hose or something for the zebra washing station.
No, it's right there.
Is it functional now?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was, Moose tightened up a clamp today,
Okay,
solved the problem.
because people have asked.
And who's going to be responsible for taking the dock, the kayak ramp out?
It'll be the highway department.
Highway department.
Yeah. The annual maintenance taking care of the boat launch falls to the town. Just for routine stuff, not any major than that. The state did ask us, if you remember, the town had put $25,000 in an account to go toward this project. The state ended up putting the entire cost. They did ask us to leave that money in there for any minor repairs and things that need to be done over the next couple of years. So, we do have, so if we run into any problems up there, small problems, we can get it taken care of. And right now we're dealing with a tree that came down. The highway department will be up next week, clean that up, fell off a neighboring property to the boat ramp part of the property. It's been coned off and it will be taken care of next week.
Oh, looks good.
I have also, seems to be some issues with the state and supervising no swimming and all that and asking the zebra mussel monitors. Is that
Town is required to enforce the regulations of the boat ramp if the boat ramp's going to remain open. And part of that is we have to tell them they can't swim from the boat.
Did you find out if people can get a special permit for their things?
I have recommended people to get what's called an access permit.
Right.
If the state approves somebody, we get notice of it.
Okay.
And that would allow groups to swim from the boat ramp if they receive permission, which I would let the monitors know if any permission has been received. Typically, they won't do it for just groups in general, but they might do it for an individual special event.
Right.
If there was a swimming race on the lake or something like that. But my understanding is they will not, in general, give permission for groups to swim from the boat.
Right. Well, Terry Smith was very specific on that.
Yes.
And I know you and I talked about whether there would be a special permit for a special race.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what had happened with that.
If they're looking for like a single event, I know the state.
None of us went
that.
there.
Yes.
Okay.
But they won't. I know what people are looking for is just regular permission to do it.
Right.
That most likely will not be granted. So, yeah.
I'm a little confused as to what the responsibility is of the zebra mussel monitors. If people go swimming or they don't, or violate that, listen, you can't go swimming and they jump in.
Zebra mussel monitors are up there to monitor for that the boats are cleaned.
Right.
And that the ramp is run under mass regulations.
Right.
And part of that is no swimming.
No dogs.
And if someone swims anyway after they tell them, what do they do?
Call
the police.
Call the Stockbridge
Yeah.
police.
Oh, okay.
Our zebra mussel, they're not enforcement.
Right. That's what I'm
Our job
trying.
is to simply ask people, please don't swim here, please.
Right.
But if they do, then they contact law enforcement, which will either be handled by state police, our police, or the environmental police, depending on who gets dispatched to the scene.
We're going to try to avoid that. But
We are asking people, if you don't have, we need to enforce it. It was part of the improvements in the rest. And the state, yes, if you want to have an operating boat ramp, part of it is ensuring that it's operated properly. So if we want to maintain a boat ramp on the lake, we need to enforce no smoking. Because they can say it's too much of a risk, we're shutting down the boat ramp and you won't have a ramp at all.
I think it's important that we mention it in these public meetings. And so I've tried to do that and I know that it was at least heard by some people, because people came back to me and said, what do you mean we can't swim down there? And I said, this is the state regulation. And people have said, well, okay, well, in Pittsfield, we can swim at the boat ramp. And, I tried to explain what the state had explained to me, which was, this is not the same thing, because Pittsfield has a park next to its boat ramp, which is run by the city. We do not. We have a state-run boat facility run by the Fish and Game people, and they're all, regulations are different.
Yeah. If you have a swimming area designated with ropes and the rest right near it, you could have swimming right beside a boat launch. But the boat launch area from the boat launch out is not. And I know one person said, there's the 50-foot buffer so that motorboats aren't supposed to be when you protect. I said, yeah, everywhere except for that area in front of the boat ramp is technically not included in that. The boats are able to operate within there. So, yeah.
Is that something you've discussed with and everybody's on board? So
their hearts aren't in it, but
yeah.
They've been instructed. We're dealing with it on a case-to-case basis.
Mhm.
It hasn't been too prevalent. People have gotten the word.
Right.
So, but I'm sure during the summer, there's going to be people that are going to be swimming down there, and we'll deal with it.
My concern is, but you said, look, call the police or call whatever, and we don't want to lose monitors for the zebra
They didn't
mussels.
sign up for that.
Yeah,
No.
and the zebra mussels is such an important part of keeping that lake healthy. So like you say, well, the town has to supervise. Maybe I'm just wondering if the town has to have an employee there that's not.
No.
We have.
Are they paid for totally by the town?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We get $6,000 from the state for zebra mussel.
Right.
And then the remaining costs, which that does not cover nearly as much.
Right.
The remaining cost is picked up by the town.
Okay.
So
I'm just.
town employees.
I thought different organizations were still like the SBA was.
Nope.
No, okay. Because at one time when we first started it was funded by a few different organizations. So I didn't know
Yes.
if it was still.
I don't know.
Right. I'm just telling you.
Much better since then.
What?
It's gotten much better since then.
Yeah, I'm hoping so, because it was a pain before. All right,
I'm
so let's
hoping
go
it's
on.
not going to be a major problem, but
Yeah.
we'll deal with it, and we'll try to keep it as,
And there's things that we can do if we see every day at this time there's a group showing up, that instead of having the zebra mussels repeat, we're going to make sure that they're not put in situations where they're confronting people. It's a polite ask.
Yeah.
We regularly see something, they'll be communicating to me, and maybe we have an officer waiting there during those days
Right.
to say, hey, guys, you can't be from there.
they'll have to switch to town beach.
Yep, town beach, you can walk through the woods and enter the water if you're going to swim anywhere technically. So there's other areas that people can, the boat launch is not.
Not it.
Or Gould Meadow, they can swim over there.
People do that all the time. Like woods.
Lord Woods.
All the time is fine.
Yeah. Michael, was there anything else you wanted to,
No.
thank you very much.
I had one
Appreciate
other
it.
comment, which is that I really think we dodged a bullet on this. I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks,
I thought I was really impressed when I went down there. We were nervous, I have to say. Conservation, we were very nervous as to how this is going to go, but I think it looks really good. And I'm hoping that, we'll be able to keep it up and that it won't get all trampled.
Sure.
I think people get used to it and they'll like it.
I'd like to, unrelated question, how quickly is this one available for this meeting? Can I get to Zoom at this meeting tomorrow if I email you?
Yes,
Okay,
yep. And typically on Fridays, I try to send.
okay, 'cause I gotta get the minutes done before I leave.
Yes.
Oh, we can cut the meeting short, so you don't have to write so much.
Right.
Right.
All right, probably, late, probably August or September, I'll come back and update progress on all these.
Yeah. Michael, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, very good job.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Good evening.
You too.
Well,
Motion
I
to
wanna-
adjourn?
I do, no, yeah. Well, before we adjourn, because it's hard for me to send everybody things and not be able to talk to everybody. So one of the things before we adjourn this is, I'd like everybody to think about the 3 priorities. And I sent everybody what they wrote, did everybody get that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I summarized it on one sheet of what everybody, and it seems to me that there were things that really stood out. And for me, one of the things that stood out and is doable was education. And so that's one of the things that I'd like to get this group to think or create a group of 3 people. And I sent everybody today,
Yeah.
a pamphlet.
It's only part of it. At least I can only open.
Okay, well, I can send the whole thing, but it just gives you a general, and it was written by the Stockbridge Stewardship Committee in like 4 years ago, I believe. I just throw out
It
these
was pretty
numbers.
good too, I thought.
Yeah, and I'd like to get together with the SBA. And I think what happens is we always educate, we write these things, but it's not a constant thing. Education should we got to figure out a way that everyone that's involved around the lake sort of understands and abides by these if possible. We can't enforce it. But I wanted everybody to look at what they think and come up with, this is just my suggestion, 3 things that are important and doable for the next year.
Well, some of the things
Yeah.
are enforceable.
Well, that could be. I'm just saying that I don't know.
If you walk along the causeway, you know that there's water flowing from the road
Right.
right into the
Both
lake,
ways.
and it's not buffered at all. So those are specific projects. It's
Okay.
not just about education, but actually doing something.
We always say when we walk around to do a site visit on somebody's lawn and there is an area dandelion, we know that there, things are going on that aren't supposed
Yeah,
to
well,
be.
we understand their issues, and that's
Yeah.
why I'm saying that I'm not saying our only hope, because someone could come up with a thing, but one of the best hopes we have is education through the pamphlets, through the SBA, through a constant, but it's got to be, that's just my suggestion. But I'd like everyone to read the different, what I sent. A lot of it is overlapping, a lot of things we did, we've worked on. But before I adjourn this meeting, because I don't want to go past 6 o'clock
I'm missing,
what?
I'm missing my grandson's birthday party.
Oh, so go,
So
yeah,
I'm
all right,
anxious to go.
all right.
I already missed another. event.
And also think about if you're interested in being the chair or co-chair of the committee.
Vice chair.
We call it.
What?
Vice chair.
I apologize, the vice chair.
Michael, I think the SBA should be the
Co-chair.
spearhead on this.
Without a doubt, but I think it's very important that we work with them
Yeah.
and let them know that we really feel it's an important. I think what happens is with this is that people give up. You send it out once and you hope for the best, but
I'm not sure I agree with that.
okay, fair enough.
I think we have a town committee. And I think these are town issues. And I think the SBA is a private organization, and I do not think that they should be the spearhead.
Got the manpower though.
They may have the manpower, they certainly can help.
Right. So,
And their help would certainly be welcome, but I do not think they should be the
I
spearhead.
agree with that.
Okay,
I think
then
that's right.
let's work with them.
without a doubt, I want to, because first of all, they have the mailing, they have the lists, they have things that we don't have. So it's very important to work with.
Emails?
What?
Money.
Town has the tax roll, they've got.
Everybody, yeah.
Yeah, no, okay. Does anybody want to be the chair for next year? You know, you can't, you can't.
Thankless job.
You know, I wouldn't mind if it was thankless and paid. Thankless and not paid is the hard way. Anyway, does anyone have anything to add to this meeting that they would like to bring up?
Like to thank you, Michael, for being chair.
This,
So just to clarify.
Yeah.
It's like the lake management plan.
oh, thank you. Oh, I apologize. Thank you.
Forwarded, what?
All right, I apologize. Thank you.
You know.
Let me go over that.
See from listening that things are fragmented. And we have the dredging.
You can go.
And then, you know, we have the dredging, we have the adoption in the lake. We have all of these issues and we don't have a plan. We don't have a context. So it's just, all right, we're gonna dredge. Somebody thought of dredging 20 years ago.
Right.
Now we're gonna dredge. But what's the context for all of this?
But aren't we going before the select board?
Second.
Now, that's what I want to make
Yeah.
sure that we've agreed.
But I'm going to go to the select board to give them a history or basically what we're doing. They want to know what's going on.
We've approved the document.
Yeah.
It's forwarding, that's all.
So let me just talk about the lake management plan a second. First of all, I resent it to you in a PDF because when it was sent, like when you sent it to regular, the numbers and were all screwed up or the pages. Please take a look at that. And the other thing is, Sally, and I asked Michael too, we have a cover page which is screwed up.
You fixed it.
What?
I thought you fixed that.
No, I couldn't fix the cover because that's different
Oh.
than type. The type part I can fix. I can even take the highlight out. I can do that. But the cover, if you notice when I sent you, if you look at the cover, there's writing on top of
Yeah.
writing and I can't fix that. I need the
It's been
original.
that way forever.
Yeah, but I'd like to add something to the
All the
cover.
ones that I looked at.
I wanna have a
they all
picture of
had
you.
that all.
Author in the back,
Yeah, no.
you know? But I'd like to say that it's updated with the date on the cover. And I can't do that unless I
You
get
just have
the,
to create another one, which looks just like it, only isn't it?
Start from scratch, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, very easy.
It'll be easier to start from scratch.
You could do a publisher.
I know you can
Something
do it.
like that.
wow, you know? All right,
All right, are we
done. We're done.
Done.
All right,
Yeah.
You need a motion, Michael.
Motion to
Motion
We
to adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All right. Everybody have a good weekend
Thank you, Michael.
and happy birthday to you.
No, it's Levi's birthday.